Hello tutor, this is my research project. The objective of this project is to identify the gap between public and private sector schools in language teaching, analyzing external and internal factors that affect the teaching learning process. Starting with the action consistent with the philosophy and pedagogical model with the teaching practice that encourages the motivation of the students for the acquisition of the language. The teaching pedagogical model, both in the public sector, specifically on the educational institution Maria Antonia Ruiz, and in the private sector, specifically the Franciscan College private, teaching styles, teaching practice, the existence of a teaching sequence that familiarizes contents of the curriculum with daily life as symbols of meaningful learning are student learning styles, analyzing the coherence and relevance of the pedagogical model of the mentioned schools inserted in the PEI with the teaching learning process that is being carried out in the institutions using the methodology used, all this based on the behavior manual and the PEI. The teaching of English is based on standards and competencies established by the Common European Reference Framework for Language and adopted by education system, which at that time are regulated and supervised by the Secretary of Education, Standards and Competencies that establish parameters for the learning organization classified into 6 levels of learning that maintain a sequence of contents and with them the development and strengthening of skills. The mission of the Franciscan School is to be recognized by 2020 for its proposal and its human and Christian formation, projecting itself as a leading school in pedagogical innovation, high level in a second foreign language. The educational institution Maria Antonia Ruiz has as mission for 2025 to be a recognized school in the municipality, departmental, and national level for being an inclusive institution and for the dynamics of its educational project, focused on the development of technology, ecology, bilingualism, the strengthening of values for the healthy coexistence and the search for excellence in external tests. Noting that training in a second language is not as relevant as in the Franciscan school. The private sector is concerned with educational quality, the implementation of strategies according to learning styles, the monitoring of the synthetic quality index, and the performance of undergoing a serious evaluation that obligates the teacher to commit to their work. While in the public sector, the lack of education is also attributed to the educational system, where resources aren't distributed properly and there aren't enough teachers for so many students. A physical analysis of the PEI of both institutions show that PEI of the Maria Antonia Ruiz institution is based on the traditional pedagogical model, which explains the lack of motivation of the students at the implementation of strategies, as well as the inclusion of 100% technologies, while the Franciscan School has a pedagogical model framed in a pedagogy of human Christian values. As a result of the quality policies and pedagogical model of each institution, the classification of the schools sorted by global index was evidenced. The Franciscan schools was number 11 and the Maria Antonia Ruiz Educational Institution was ranked 145, which shows the difference in academic quality in the external exam, ICFES, according to the calculations of evaluation of competence and knowledge of the language. Specific objectives of the research: provide constant training to teachers in public and private schools in teaching a second language to improve results or maintain them. Constantly evaluate the use of support resource of support material for the training of a second language. Research scope: the deficiencies in the educational system are highlighted through teaching practice, the suitability of the professional labor guarantees according to the conditions of the context, highlighting in depth the socioeconomic and cultural difference of the population as an influential factor in the process educational and generate conditions for the reflection of educational practice. Research limitations: the limitations that can be found in this study are the receptivity of teachers to be honest and reflect on what to do educational influential in future generations, the humanization in the educational system, which does not allow the student to be as an integral being, a social, affective, and cognitive being, educational policies that exercise more exhaustive control in the public sector, since the private sector adapts to them but transforms them according to context and diversity. The meaning of the study: the present study is an analysis of the factors that affect the learning of second language, taking into account the internal and external factors to which the students are exposed and the lack of follow-up of the teaching staff in shares of language teaching, highlighting the weakness and strengths of both sectors, public and private. Having as a reference the educational institution Maria Antonia Ruiz and the Franciscan School, both of the municipality of Tuluá Valle, to unite not only the results for internal and external tests. Literature review: the bilingual program became a state policy, so it became a topic of interest among the educational community, focusing on educational programs and policies, that is, the language component, as well as methodologies and pedagogies that promote and motivate English learning. Studies compiled by Mejia et al. 2011, which contain some of the main contributions to the national literature. Studies related to language proficiency are barely made, which is why there are failures and the expected results haven't been achieved, even when it has improved. But one of first studies in terms of the situation of the language. In both private and public schools, English language teaching has been relativized as an universal stereotype, where the external test, known as ICFES, has shown a 10-point difference in results, confirming the supremacy of private education. Two schools were analyzed according to the result, especially in the area of English: the Maria Antonia Ruiz Public School and the San Francisco Private School. For the result, students' parents' education and level were taken into account socioeconomic. The teaching methodology, the work environment, and teacher training, the ICFES results between 2014 and 2018. There are physical, qualitative, and quantitative elements that are favorable and unfavorable in language teaching in both public and private sectors, taking into account that the Maria Antonia Ruiz School represents the public sector and the San Francisco School represents the private sector. as well that the infrastructure will allow more opportunities for experimentation and language exploration, for which the San Francisco School has an adequate English laboratory and classrooms, each with a beam, television and video, and the Maria Antonia Ruiz School only has an adequate room with TV, video, beam and speakers, where students move according to the need of the teacher and the strategy to be used, for which a reservation in advance is necessary, which decreases the opportunities of use, since it is available to all teachers from different areas, unlike the San Francisco School, where each classroom has its television and video kit, which provides more opportunities for the implementation and use of technological resources. San Francisco School has 8 academic hours equivalent to 50 minutes, while Maria Antonia Ruiz has 7 hours, and each class hour is equivalent to 40 minutes. Another aspect in the participation of families in the academic process, which shows that in the private sector parents are more outstanding due to many factors such as educational level and socioeconomic level. Pinero and Rodriguez 1999 demonstrate the importance of this aspect in learning. In fact, the difference between public and private schools have an impact on the results of state tests. They conclude that there is better students' performance when they attend a private school. It is necessary that the training in research be consistent with the new teaching learning paradigms and with the current knowledge production needs to facilitate the training of research and users of the research required by today's society. Thank you very much.